Hi, this is Larry with Man Cave Mayhem. Today we are going to be working on the Tail125, specifically the 2024 Tail125 that I purchased for my wife. Now, my Tail125 has a USB port on it, but as you can see, with the keys off, I can actually turn this thing on, which is fine and dandy as long as you don't mistakenly turn it on. And I've done that in the past and drained the battery, so we want to prevent that from happening. I ran that direct to the battery. I haven't had any real issues, but just for safety reasons, I wanted to hook this up to the headlight. That's the other way to do that. So we're gonna do something a little different today, and we're gonna install that cigarette lighter plug. Now, I got this one from Amazon. I'll include it in the link in the description of this video, but it's a Chinese-made product, and supposedly it's almost plug and play. We'll see if it works. Sometimes these are set up for overseas models, so we'll check and see if we can get this thing to work. It comes with some directions, but they don't look very straightforward. So we're gonna, it kind of gives you an idea, I guess, red and black. So it does show how to hook it up, but I'm not sure if the plugs are the same. We're gonna have to look at that as we tear into the light. So we're gonna go ahead and get this light disassembled and see what we got in there and see how things are working for this install. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at mancave_mayhem. Now let's get on with the video. All right, first thing that's gonna happen is we're gonna disconnect this headlight rack. I got a Kemimoto headlight rack. If you don't have a headlight rack, all you got to do is undo this screw, and I'll give you the size of the factory screw so you know what you're going to need as far as an Allen key. All right, your factory screw should look like this, your Allen bolt or whatever. It should look like this, and that is going to be a 5mm Allen key for that. So if you're factory, this is what you need. If you're not factory, I don't know, whatever your rack is. So let's get started. We'll get that removed and we'll move on to the next step. Then we're going to move in closer here so you can see what I'm talking about. There's Japanese industrial standard screw on each side of the headlight. There's one on the opposing side, just like this. So you're going to take a JIS screw or screwdriver and take those out next. I have these loosely fitted in here so the light doesn't fall. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, you don't have to remove this light. I took it off because of my rack, but you wouldn't have to if you don't have a rack. You could just leave that on there. So it's not a big deal. Anyhow, let's get that taken off next.
My time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior, inferior. You know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last and to believe in.
Now that you got that out, you can see the little clip on the top here. That just fits into the notch right here and allows that headlight to be solid. There's only this bulb is all self-contained. You just have to disconnect this now, and that particular fitting there, and that's just a pinch fit, so that should come off relatively easy. Of course, they're never relatively easy, but and see, that's off. We'll set the headlight aside now. Now this is where it might get tricky. This is what you're going to be looking at inside the headlight assembly here. You got this that plugs into the headlight. Looks like we got another fitting here. So we got to look and see what corresponds with that on the setup that we have. So let's do that. All right, in the kit you get this pigtail, and it looks like a plug and play setup. So we're going to give it a try. This plugs into the headlight assembly. This plugs into what used to plug into the headlight assembly. So you've got a male and a female plug. So we're going to take this over to the bike and get this plugged in. Fingers crossed this will work. Like I said, hopefully it's not set up for a foreign bike, but it doesn't appear to be. So we're going to give it a try and see what happens here. Well, that's satisfying. That's clicked in. Now, these two fittings right here, you got a red and a black, and I'm assuming that's going to be for the actual USB plug. So we're going to go ahead and hook those up and get the USB plug run. So we'll move to the top instrument cluster area of the bike. Now, right by the instrument cluster, you'll notice a plug, and it's just a rubber plug. So we're going to pop that out. That's where the USB charger is going to go. You can see it's got a nice hole there. Now let's get the USB charger. Sometimes these are kind of a tight fit, and they don't like to go in real easy. We'll see how this one is. I don't like to file the metal on the bike itself. So we'll see what it does and see if we can get it in without filing anything. This is actually pretty nice. It's got a rubber boot that goes on the end of it once you get it through, and then it's threaded, and then it's got a, let me get over here where you can see it. It's got a nut and it's threaded. So you feed the wire through and then put the rubber boot or nut on, and then the rubber boot. So we're going to feed this through and see exactly how it looks here. See if it's going to actually go through without any hassle. Oh, and that drops right in. Very nice. No filing necessary. So that's plug and play, baby. Now what we'll do is we'll come around to the other side, and you're going to want to fish that wire through. All right, next we're going to take the nut and fish it through. And there's a lip on one side of this nut, so you're going to want to use the side that doesn't quite have a lip on it. And we're going to just kind of fish that through and start that, get that threaded on there. So this takes a little finagling, and it might be wise just to loosen this headlight so we can get into this area. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull this headlight down a little bit, get it out of the way. Now I'll get the camera where you guys can see this. So now you can kind of see where this is at. So now we're just going to take this threaded piece, get some light on the subject so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. You can see the threads right there, and I'm just feeding this knurled piece up, and I'm going to thread that on. I'll get that done now. All right, we're going to go ahead and run these wires through here. Kind of a tight fit, but that grease does help get it through. And then you just fish that up. That kind of just helps keep some of the moisture away from the plug. I don't know how much, but it'll make it look cleaner, that's for sure. So now that boot's on there, it actually holds pretty well. So we got the boot on. Now the next step is we're going to fish this wire through the headlight bucket, and there's an opening towards the back here on the lower left-hand side of the bike if you're sitting on it. And so we're going to feed that through and into the wire loom. So let's do that now. Okay, so now I just need to fish this wire through to the back of the headlight, and I'm going to feed it through right down here. There's the wire loom opening. Fish that through. Now that that wire's through, we simply go to the two female plugs that are on the plug and play harness, and you've got red goes to red, obviously. So we'll plug that in. And black goes to black. Okay, so the harness should look like this when you're done. Now let's get the headlight, plug it in, and then we're going to take it for a little test run and make sure everything's working properly. I like to take a microfiber towel and throw across my fender just in case something falls into it or bangs it. This headlight assembly is fairly heavy, so now all we have to do in theory is plug this in, and hopefully we have lights and we have USB. So now she's plugged in, but we're going to set this here. First we're going to see if the headlight comes on, and then we'll move from there. Looks like we got headlights. Do we have high beam? I don't know. Let's see. That's the running lights. We'll start it up and go from there. So So far so good. We have headlights. Now let's check and see if we have a charger. All right, now we're going to plug a cord in, see if we have power. Before anybody makes rude comments about this seafoam or green cord, it's my wife's. It was the closest one, so no teasing, please. So we're plugged in. We're going to test it. I'm going to throw my phone on the handlebars and we'll see how she does, if she charges. All right, let's turn the bike on, see what we get. We will see if it... Oh yeah, it looks like we're getting charge. Everything's lighting up as it should be. So I'm going to call that a success. Make sure when you're reassembling the headlight that you get a lot of this stuff tucked way back in here. Otherwise, you're going to have a struggle getting this headlight back on. There's not a lot of space here.
Let's go. Yo. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket.
All right, my final thoughts on this USB charger, USB 2.0 and USB-C charger. Overall, I'm really impressed with the quality of it and the price. It really wasn't that expensive. It was under $30. And it comes with the harness. It's plug and play. It's really easy. Compared to the one that I put in, I had to pull everything out of here. I had to hook it up to the battery. And there's just not a lot of room where the battery's at on these to hook other accessories up to it. So I have my charger hooked up to it as well as this USB. And I guess what you got to ask yourself is, do you want to be able to turn this on when the bike is off? If you don't want to take that chance or that risk, then you're probably better off getting something that comes on with the ignition, which is this bad boy right here. And like I said, this one was like $12.95. This one was under $30. I mean, for what you get, I think it's a good deal. The hardest part was putting the rack on and off, and that's simply because I have a rack on there. If you don't have a rack, you're not going to have that problem. So I really think this is a good product. I think it's such a good product that I went ahead and ordered it a second time for this one. So I'm going to switch this out and put that one, same product, on this one. So I'll leave the link in the description below for this USB charger for the CT Tail125 Hunter Cub, whatever you want to call it, whatever country wants to call it, whatever they want to call it. But I'll tell you what, this thing is awesome. Again, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at mancave_mayhem. Also, check out my Amazon affiliate link for this product and many more. It helps out my channel, helps me out, and I greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, folks, and just remember, I'm just a man in a cave causing mayhem.